So good to be here tonight on behalf of Alleghany Highlands Public Schools, and it's lovely to have many members of our team in the audience tonight. We have 3 of our board members here. We have multiple members of our senior staff here. So we have me and Melinda and Daryl and Rebecca were able to make it tonight too, which is great. And I almost said Eric's here too, but I got to remember that he's just part of the community team. We're very excited to bring you another, what we like to call State of the School Division update. We started this tradition, Melinda and I felt like it would be helpful last year when we were going through so much change, and we're hopeful that it continues to be helpful. So our first message tonight is to thank you. Oh, we have a technical problem back there in the back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the equipment's too complicated.
All right. This slide is pretty basic. If it pleases council, I'll just kind of talk through it. We want to thank you for your generous support. That is from council. That is from your staff. We enjoy working with your full team. We want to give you a little bit of an overview of the 23-24 school year, which is the school year that we're just finishing, if you will, and then the school year that's coming up, which is 24-25. Again, it starts tomorrow, really. We'll share some sample staff and students' achievement. We'll tell you some ways you can keep up with the school division. And again, a reminder that school starts tomorrow. So thank you for all you do to help that happen. So these are our presentations as planned. We do try to visit all 4 of the governing bodies in the Alleghany Highlands. So we should have them all scheduled hopefully by the end of this week. And again, we want to thank you for your generous support. We've been very pleased to have level funding from previous years that are going into our needs of our students. As you all know, the price of everything has increased. That's something we're dealing with across categories. And this has been a really, really helpful thing to support our students in this time of their continued recovery from the pandemic times, as well as our coming together. We've been excited, and this remains true, that consolidation has exerted downward pressure on rising educational costs. The price of everything is increasing, and we want to be candid about that, but we've been excited that we have realized some efficiencies through the process. The support for the school division arrives in many forms. We want to thank everyone who's involved in any of that support, whether they're a taxpayer locally, they're maybe giving a donation to the school, or some organization supports the schools, they're paying for a ticket price at a game, they're encouraging our staff and our students, funds from private foundations. Alan very kindly mentioned the Alleghany Foundation. Of course, they help us all as well. Different volunteerism. We're just excited about all of that. And again, it kind of bears repeating these pieces because we want to just make sure that we don't forget them. Some days it feels like we've been together for decades, but that's really not true. We're still a very young organization. And so through this process, there's been no involuntary job loss, and we've been able to maintain people's salaries. These things are very, very important, of course, to everyone in our community. So in the 23-24 school year, the school year we're just coming out of, if you will, a lot has happened. It's kind of strange when you're me or Melinda and you sit down and you think, wow, where were you this time last year? It's very interesting because this time last year we hadn't actually seen our student bodies together. And now we have them together at Alleghany and Covington Middle School, as well as, of course, at our elementary schools. We were able to enjoy a lot of great successes in academics and athletics. The athletic piece has really kind of driven some morale pieces and some climate pieces that have been very important for our children. We've been able to focus on our strategic plan goals, and we've been able to receive a variety of recognitions. So we've been very pleased with that. And several of those recognitions are also going back to local government, with this project having received recognition statewide from Virginia Municipal League and from the Virginia Association of Counties. And we've been very, very pleased to be part of that effort. We have also excitingly seen a lot of improvement in student attendance. And the reason we went ahead and put this on this slide is that has been a big deal for us since the pandemic times, and it's been a big deal for the state. So we're very excited to see that progress. And Jeter Watson Elementary School is among the schools in the Commonwealth doing really well with that, and they've actually been recognized as a model statewide for some improvements they've made. So we have lots of different additional opportunities and provisions for students, and that's part of the reason we all got together, right? So want to just highlight those real quickly. We do have a career technical education program that's back online, if you will. If you're like, hey, I remember we had building management a long time ago. We did. Okay, it's a program we lost and that we were able to recapture with our student body being a little larger and together. We developed a program that we call the AHA, the Alleghany Highlands Advancement Programs. There's one online there in healthcare and healthcare career preparation. There's another coming online with law and related leadership careers that we're excited about. We have a whole variety of safety enhancements going on. There's actually a whole slide dedicated to that in a moment. We've been able to expand our preschool programming. All of our teachers are owed a huge debt of thank you on this next one. We've been implementing the Virginia Literacy Act, and that is a sweeping piece of legislation that affects all students basically up through 8th grade. It's a really big deal, a really interesting change in education, and that's something that our teachers and staff have done really well with. We've been able to add school nursing capacity, again, back to the attendance piece, that being a success. And then we're excited that while there still are things that are coming to pass with the governor's recent executive order around cell phones in schools, we seem to be ahead of pace and grossly in compliance with what we're expecting to hear that we need to do by January. We promised you a bit of a safety slide here. We're very excited to have our ongoing partnerships with local law enforcement, certainly including the Sheriff's Department and the Covington Division of Police. That gives us school resource officers in every school. We hold very interdisciplinary school safety meetings with all of those partners. There's a lot of different communication strategies that we use, and we've been able to do some physical upgrades to security as well, including panic button technology, Knox boxes, which are a way you can enter buildings in the case of a fairly extreme emergency, and additional door security. All right, so that's kind of last year. Now moving into the new year. All right, we continue to be very excited to focus on making a positive difference. We're going to keep working on that Virginia Literacy Act. That is not a one-year process. Want to make sure everybody in our community knows that. We've added a variety of curriculum resources that are related to that act, which again is about the effective teaching of reading, but also we're prepared for a lot of instructional change that's coming our way from the state. So that's mentioned there on this slide. Again, we have an additional Alleghany Highlands advancement program. We are expecting sweeping revisions of the standards of learning. So not just the tests, but what the children are expected to learn in the classroom. And so we're just so proud of our staff for really embracing that. And a lot will be going on with that and with attendance as we go into the next year. The track project is reaching completion, which several people in this room are probably incredibly excited about. We hope to sign off on that August 15th. So that is a very exciting thing for our student athletes. We've been very proud to work with Mountain Gateway on their lab school. It should be fully online this time next year. It does have online course options, but it's fully accessible to students, so good by language. And then we'll be highlighting some ways to support our kids in the community through an initiative we're calling Fierce for Kids. That's basically a way of us highlighting kids and teachers and their accomplishments during the year. It feels like a lot, I think, because it is a lot, and that's why we like to thank our full team every chance we get. That includes you all supporting us, that includes our board, that includes our entire staffs. We have staff of all different stripes who've gotten our buildings ready, who've helped us with all sorts of different things, getting ready for the school year and continuing on forward with this project. We do have a couple student and staff achievements we'd like to highlight for you. We've been very blessed. There are a good variety of them. We do have 6 new Jackson River Governor School graduates. Those kids have pursued a really impressive academic program. Significant accolades athletically in cross-country football, wrestling, and volleyball, and that even doesn't quite capture all the areas where we had student success that was pretty high, but these are the main ones at this time. So individual student accomplishments that we're continuing to be very excited about, some kids really doing some really interesting things. And we're fortunate that Melinda and I, as well as members of our board, are currently seated on a variety of statewide committees. And we just really believe that's good for the Alleghany Highlands because we're bringing our voices forward in that process. All right, we always want to talk about our achievement scores, right? And so this slide is a very, I advanced there and I'll come back. This slide is a very important slide there in highlighting a variety of student achievements. Very excited by that reading progress and want to highlight that again for you. We'd love to see you continue keeping up with the school division. Please continue to focus on the Alleghany Highlands Facebook page. We're posting, Daryl is the genius behind that page.
Don't call him a genius.
And we're just so fortunate to have him on our team. He's posting around 3 good things a day. And they're informative things, and they're also successful things. And they're kind of a glimpse into the schools. We really try to provide that for everybody, so there's not a whole lot of mystery about what's occurring in the schools. You do not have to have a Facebook account to access that page. It is set to public, so you can look at it like a web page, right? So if that's your preference, that's great. And it really does give us good feedback. We have around, I think Daryl was telling us that he would quote the statistic better, but in the past few days, we've had around 54,000 views of different posts on that page. Some of those are probably me looking at them 2 or 3 times, right? But that's also a very broad reach, and we're excited about that because what that does is motivate our team. That motivates our students, that motivates our teachers, that motivates everybody else on our team, and we're just really excited about that. We do post our news to the website relatively quickly as well. It doesn't update 3 times a day, but it does update frequently if that's your preference, and you'll find a lot of our press releases there. We also like to highlight all of our agendas for our board meetings are there. And our board does a really nice job of encouraging us to put a lot of things on those agendas. And so if you go into those agendas, there are lots and lots of links. Not everything is a link, but lots and lots of things are. So whenever you see it blue, you can click it and open it up to more documentation, and that may be particularly helpful for
And that
members
makes
of
it
the public.
very nice. Very, very nice.
We are glad when people read it too, so thank you, because it is something that we try to do just for clarity, transparency. So if somebody has a question, they can get that question to us. It's nice for our record keeping, so we love it when it's useful to somebody else too. And of course, we believe in our community, our families, and our children. And we're just really passionate about that. That's what Fierce for Kids is going to be all about. Cougars are fierce, so we like to be fierce on behalf of our community and all these good efforts. Again, I love saying thank you this evening. Melinda did appoint me to come forward, but she is the best thank you person. She always remembers absolutely everyone who helps our team, and it's wonderful that she's able to do that so well, because this is really a community and team effort. And we're very, very blessed by that. And we'll start school tomorrow. So, all that said, we're happy to entertain questions. Again, we have a variety of staff and board members in the audience. It's so nice to see everybody here tonight from our team and others.
Very cool. You brought up the cell phone
Yes, sir.
policy. When Governor Northam's office made his announcement a couple of weeks ago, I had a lot of comments about the policy. What is the current policy for cell phones in the schools here, and what will it look like if what they're looking at goes into effect?
Yeah, so there's kind of a bunch of variables there, so if you give me just a second to answer that question, I'll try to make sure I do it fully. We're very pleased that our board got ahead of this issue, so that was a really great thing that they did. They brought it forward and really wanted us to do some research on this topic. And so about 2 years ago now, we did some heavy surveying in our community, tried to develop a policy or a set of practices that we thought was reasonably palatable for everybody, met people's different needs, but kept kids focused to the classroom. So essentially what happens is up through 5th grade, students can certainly have a phone if their family chooses to have them with a phone, but that phone is out of sight, out of mind during the school day, like the entire school day. It doesn't come out in terms of like for lunch or something like that nature, unless there's a real special circumstance the staff member is going to authorize. In grades 6 through 12, they have a little more flexibility where they can access that phone at times like lunch, right? One of the things that we want to consider is if that does need to be further restricted. We don't know the answer to that fully, and I want to make sure I say that to you. We aren't exactly sure. Where the state is in their conversation, the governor issued his executive order about a month ago now, I believe. They're really quickly having conversations, and their goal is to get us guidance this fall with that executive order actually going into effect in January. So unfortunately, I don't have any real inside track information on exactly what that might mean.
A lot of it was people were asking me what the current policy was, and I told them that I couldn't remember. It's been a couple of years since I had a kid there, but I couldn't remember what that was. So I told them the next time I saw you, so.
There you go. The handy way of remembering it is we say no cell bell to bell. So for the elementary kids, that bell's going to ring basically when the day starts and when the day finishes. And for those middle and high school students, they're obviously having chunks in their day, but no cell bell to bell.
Okay.
Can you skip the slide back?
Oh yeah, I think we were looking at some achievement score pieces. I can highlight that for you. So basically we see reading improvement in the elementary schools in a lot of really great ways. Very excited by that growth, very excited by that growth. Very excited on the attendance front as well. We will tell you that it is difficult to look at our data right now, and that's true for schools across the Commonwealth. There's a lot of things changing, both because of the pandemic and because of the state board's decisions on accreditation and accountability. So it's going to be a little hard to compare apples to apples here for a little while. But we can very legitimately tell you that we are very excited by our elementary kids' growth in reading and their growth in attendance, and that's true across schools. Yeah. Thank y'all.
We'd love to more.
Oh, thank you. Y'all are coming to the first day of school, right? Who's teaching now?
You got
We
food?
appreciate all your support. We know you're there in spirit.
You got food? You got food? I'll be there.
We feed the teachers pretty well.
Huh?
We feed the teachers pretty well.
Oh, okay.
Lots of
Well, they
snacks.
deserve it.
There you go. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, Kim.